Now, to give you an example of how hard some of the stuff is, maybe, 2001 was when Dacera was founded. I joined the company about 18 months ago. But 2001, Dacera was founded, and it looked like the technology was there. And it wasn't. It took about 3 to 4 years before that technology really came. And I would even say, for the actual core resonator technology to be stable and to be something that I would view as being commercial, I'd say it's October 2005, Tim, remember the VHF? Yeah, it was a pretty heady time because we were having real problems and we got it nailed. So we got that technology ready now. So the technology is now ready, and we're now starting to take it to market. And I won't bore you with all the details, but our manufacturing cost is about a third of what everybody else's is. So all the guys who have been running for the 60 years with $3.5 billion, and they're in the crappy margins, our manufacturing cost is a third. So conceivably, at reasonable margins, we could sell for half. Now, we're not going to go that deep. We'll sell for a lot more than that. So we're looking to get obscene margins, but sell the parts cheaper than our competition is. And go back to what I said, that's where we've got a better widget. Now, it's an interesting analogy you used about the elephant. So, like VCs are always asking what the elephant's doing. The elephant looks on us as a mouse, and they're scared. And I'll tell you, because they know that the business, their market is going to go. So accordingly, what's happening? The guys are all knocking the door. And they're all trying to figure out ways of getting access to the technology and partner with the technology. Now, from my perspective, and this is where maybe the relationship of the living room gets into. I want to get my products into the living room, but I want to get them inside a DVD player. I want to get them inside a TV. Now, it's very, very hard for me to go to a company like Sony and say, hey, Mr. Sony, I'm only a little company with 22 guys. Use my product. You can rely on my product, and all your production is going to be safe. They'll get nervous. So what I do, or what I'm doing, is I need a big brother to help me. So I'm going out to some of these companies who already have the business today, and I'm saying, look, why don't I sell you my product, some of it, at a good margin to me, and I'll let you sell it to those other guys, to the guys like Sony, Fujitsu, Mitsubishi, Canon, all those guys. And what that does for my company, one, it gets me revenue, which is always a great thing, but it helps me build a credibility in the marketplace, because that's one of the challenges you have in a startup company. When you're trying to get into the market, you've got to have credibility. So what we actually did, the number 4 guy in the space, a company called Vectron, we actually signed a contract with Vectron yesterday. So that's a big step forward for the company, because one, it gives us an automatic sales channel into the companies who are going to sell into the home, but also it's a big validation of our product because they've been testing our product. That gives you a flavour of what we do. So we're the mouse, and the elephants are scared. Thanks.
Okay. So you get a mix here. We got a software guy who's trying to bring value into the home through broadband connected. We got a display guy, and somebody wants to sell to anybody who put crystals in displays. So one of the things that is common, I'm going to stay on the hardware side for a moment. Cost. You mentioned this earlier. So Amit, I'm going to challenge you. You're a startup. Nobody's heard of you. You're in stealth, and you have to convince a supply chain to get on board. How do you do it, and how do you build any tips for the audience of how to build the ecosystem around you to be successful?
So I'll take our company as an example, and it's not necessarily works for all industries, but our market is very huge, right? It's a big market, as I showed you, $130 billion market, right? And competing technologies coexist, A display for 70, 80 years, it was just CRT, and suddenly you see a barrage of different technologies coming in and coexisting. And we have to prove, first thing is our technology, which is captive to us, so minimum roadblock to us, and we have to prove to our customers, or our suppliers actually, that it's very disruptive in nature, from price point of view, from cost, because price and cost not necessarily always related in consumer product. Price is controlled by many other factors, but price, cost, performance, the product, and capital investment that a supplier would have to make to take this into production. Very key part. A barrier to entry is a huge $3 to $7, $8 billion. Forget it, right? You can't get anybody to listen to you. When you say, my costs to deploy this, working with you, is going to be a lot lower, then they get interested because barrier to entries are lower, right? So in our case, we work with one set of suppliers, again, thinking out of the box, one set of suppliers who actually have a working product in very high volume, maybe for another industry, and we find them a very new display application. They have been drooling on it to get into that, but they don't know how. And suddenly we gave them an entry because their technology is very well utilized in our technology to take them to a new market. It opens up a big door for them, right? So, and the second set of suppliers who may be in display business, but market is crushing them in terms of margins and revenues, and and they're battling with 5 other suppliers, and they see, well, if I get into this particular technology and redirect my resources and technology to make Sputnik's TV happen, well, I get the first lead. I get leadership. I get first to market. And maybe I get exclusivity, right? That becomes an attractive set of scenario. But first of all, they have to understand that our technology is disruptive and capable of taking on existing technologies. And second, the market is big today and is going to be big tomorrow. Slightly different from prior comment, this market is fairly well understood now in terms of revenue projections, in terms of quantities and volumes. And so that helps a lot. In our specs and all that are fairly well understood. Okay? So I don't have to preach the spec here. I have to preach that if you, almost like a thread, if you are not in, somebody else will be in, and you'll miss out on it, right? So it's been using these techniques, and given that the market is big, it's been relatively easy for us to attract those suppliers.
Yeah. Anybody else add? Working with yours?
Maybe, again, my business is quite different because in many ways I'm competing into a commodity business. And when we go talk to customers, we know exactly what the business level is because we ask them how many parts they ordered last month from our competitor. So they'll know they're saying we ordered 5 million, 2 million. And there's 2 paths that you can go. You can try and get into the next generation product. And there you can sell on, from our perspective, we can offer a smaller part, which is attractive. We can offer, lower power, and tighter tolerances and lower cost. So all those are great for the next product. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to get into the running product. We're trying to say, don't order 1 million of those, order maybe 750,000 of those from your current supplier and order 250,000 from us. So we're going in with a cost perspective. And part of the thing you do there, that'll be enough, or at least we believe it's enough to get over the initial risk. And what we're trying to do is get a toe in the door. And once you get that toe in the door, then you can start to see the benefits, or the customer can start to see the benefits longer term. You can start to bring those benefits to it. But the other thing that I say, what's just as important is also the sales channel to your market. So I mentioned that we'd signed a contract with Vectron. Now, that's a sales channel to a piece of the market we would never see. But we have reps we've got 2 reps in Japan, we've got 1 in Singapore, we've got 1 in Europe, and we've got 1 in Korea and to Taiwan. Now, these guys already know our customer base. And as it turned out, these reps are guys that myself and some of my guys have worked with in the past. So right away, you've got an in. Because part of the thing you're a startup, and you go along to a Hewlett-Packard or a Sony or a big company knock the door and say, let me in, you may not get in. So you've always got to have like a relationship to get you in the door. But the main thing, I'd summarize it, there has to be a hook. That customer that you're trying to sell to, you have to satisfy something he needs. And you've identified what your guys need, I've identified what my guys need, and you try and play to that.